Having multiple job skills. Being able to do many people's jobs can help get you hired because the employer then has confidence that you can cover for those other people when they call out sick or take vacation. To illustrate this point, let's break down your job as a one-person band. Stations love this position because it's really two jobs in one, reporter and photographer. So, instead of hiring a reporter at, let's say, $22,000 a year and a photographer at a separate $20,000 a year, which would be a total of $42,000, and just happens to be the going rate in Springfield when I was there, the news director would instead hire a one-person band for about half of that, $22,000. And when you do the math, that is a savings of $20,000. And this, of course, is exactly how I was hired at ABC News Channel 20. So now, another example of having multiple job skills is knowing how to produce or doing the weather. I have certainly known reporters who could also do the weather and who also knew how to produce. Now that's a lot of things. So for now, let's just start with producing, because I myself was a producer and still am, in addition to being a one-person band. So, here's the thing. Because I was a producer, I was worth more to my news director because I could cover for the regular newscast producers when they called in sick or went on vacation. This happened more than I or anybody else could anticipate. In fact, it happened a lot and would always happen on my reporting days, which again were Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. And having to cover for a producer took me off the streets. And the streets is where the action is, not in the newsroom, having to be chained to a desk for 9-10 hours a day, being a lightning rod for all the latest gossip. So it was a bummer. But now let's talk about weather people, because you in your career will meet some reporters who took the extra step of becoming meteorologists. Now, that costs money and of course time because it involves extra schooling. Only do it if you love the weather and especially weather reporting. Mississippi State University has a very popular program that's basically online. I know many meteorologists who earn their certifications through their program while completely working in a different state. So now let's talk about the downside to having multiple skills. This doesn't mean that you don't get them, I'm just setting your expectation. Because once you know what I'm about to tell you, it's not going to be as frustrating to you when it happens. And the first one is the biggest one. And that is that your news director, as well as the managers underneath of them, the assistant news director, managing editor, and executive producer, who might go by EP, might typecast you as the job they like the most. This is exactly what happened to me in Springfield. While I was a reporter 3 days a week and a producer 2 days a week, some at the station only saw me as a producer simply because I had that skill. And they needed producers they could count on more than they ever needed reporters. So, again, when producers called out sick or took vacation, it was me or the managing editor who covered for them. And again, this happened a lot, so we were both doing this a lot. And it was frustrating because reporting, and by way of reporting, I mean storytelling, is a part of my identity. And I wasn't being seen as a storyteller. I was just a guy with multiple skill sets who they could call on to fill these gaps. Though as time went on, they saw me more as a reporter because I was winning awards, and most of the time, the only one in news winning awards. But again, that's what it took to break that stereotype that they were speaking on me. I had to go out and do these other grand things in reporting to actually prove to them, to show to them that not only was I good at this, but in fact, I was in so many ways better than a lot of other people on staff, yet they could do it 5 days a week, and maybe sometimes I could do it 3. And talking about awards and sort of this overall frustration too is That's not why I entered the competitions. I wanted to see where I stacked up in the industry and in my market and against other people doing good work. I never did it to try to prove to the boss something or get a promotion or try to be seen, but again, the frustration was, this is what that took. Something else too is that some people have told me that having multiple skills has interfered with them actually being promoted because the boss likes them doing exactly what they're doing, their schedule, their skill set, the flexibility to cover for other people. Because the boss has such a use for you in your current role, sometimes you're not allowed to grow. For me, luckily, that wasn't an issue because I wasn't looking to be promoted, I was looking to leave the market. So in review, just know that if you have multiple skills, you might be typecast as the skill the boss likes the most, or as the person who has multiple skills and never seen as the part of the job that you yourself love the most. And with that, there are many markets that actually do respect all of somebody's skills. Those markets are, of course, blessings, so if people there actually respect you for everything that you do, know that those are good people. And this brings us to investing in the skills that you only want to learn. Only learn to produce if you want to know how to produce, or only go out and learn weather reporting if you truly have an interest in that. And by weather reporting, I mean going out and becoming a meteorologist. Again, if you don't, you'll hate it. Not to mention that if you hate it, you'll never be good at it. I had produced previously in my life in college, so I was fine with being a producer reporter in my first job at ABC News Channel 20. And again, I was already doing it part-time there anyway. And I also knew that if I were to seek to become a 5-day-a-week reporter in my second job, I could probably still do that. And that turned out to be true. For me, I had produced live newscasts in college and was doing it part-time professionally for the station. So I was fine with being a producer reporter in my first job at ABC News Channel 20, because I also knew that I would be seeking to become a 5-day-a-week reporter, one-person band, in my second job, and that's exactly what happened. And you know the story of how I leveraged producing to do better stories as a reporter, and that is one of the things, one of the blessings of how I got to a major market so quickly. So again, I wasn't looking to be promoted. I had created a pretty sweet deal. Now, those parts of it, I didn't know any of that when I agreed to produce. The idea to put my own stories in my own weekend newscasts came much later. So again, it was an example to me of how life is not about a lack of resources, it's about a lack of resourcefulness. And I also want to leave you with this, because some that you are around, whether it's the boss or colleagues or other people you know, may look down on you for having multiple skills, and they really shouldn't do that, because I strongly encourage you to get as many skills as possible. Those who look down on you will probably use the overused phrase and make you feel bad by saying, well, you're a jack of all trades and master of none. Well, here's the thing. That is not the complete quote. They're actually misquoting it, and they're misquoting it because they're truncating it. The official quote, the actual quote that was said, is a jack of all trades, master of none, almost always better than one. So please know, the more skills you have, the more you'll win. Never let anybody else tell you otherwise. All right, so that's it for this video. If you have any questions, please feel free to reach out. And I'll see you in the next video.